One of my favorite things that Zionists like to bring up quite a bit is what they like to call the 2000 Ramallah lynching. So let's talk about that. Now, I've been saying this recently because some actors wore like a pro-Palestine pin that is like a red hand. And I just actually found the perfect article to show this narrative. It's literally called What the Red Hand Pin Means to Jews and Why It Matters. Because, you know, some actors, celebrities, whoever these people are, wore this little pin you see there with like a red hand on it. The problem is the symbolism of the red hand itself. For many Jews, this symbol is an explicit reference to a 2000 incident in which a group of Palestinians in Ramallah brutally murdered 2 captured Israeli military reservists. The murderers then held up their bloody red hands to the light of the cheering crowd. Now, I have to wonder, why would you mention that? Why would you even admit to that if you're trying to frame this as a narrative of like Jewish victimhood? How do you even get into that situation and imagine the people who were supposedly lynched as victims? Ramallah is internationally recognized as Palestinian territory. These are 2 Israeli soldiers occupying this place who were taken out by the people who they rape, murder, torture, abuse, and oppress every single day. And you have the goal to tell us this was a lynching. Like, by invoking the term lynching, they're trying to make it out like Emmett Till or something. Some black kid who got murdered for a crime he didn't commit by a rabid racist mob. These are literal soldiers. The way that these Zionist narcissists constantly reduce literal occupying murderous, like Nazi beasts, soldiers, to as if they're little babies is crazy. That's what actually happened. That's what this is actually about. That's what the supposed Ramallah lynching is, and it's why I wanted to talk about it. This was people who rape, murder these civilians every single day. They are dedicated to oppressing them, and they were captured by their victims, and their victims showed them precisely the exact same amount of mercy as what they showed them. Doesn't feel quite as good when you're not the one in the position of power, is it? This is the picture they always point to of the red hands. These were soldiers who got somehow, despite being soldiers, they were overpowered and killed by civilians. The equivalent of this would be like 2 Nazi soldiers getting overwhelmed by like a mob of Polish civilians and killed. And then the Nazis like complaining about how this was an anti-German lynching and how this hurts their German feelings. Oh my fucking God, the narcissism. For many Jews, the red hand pin is a symbol of the murder of Jews, this fucker writes. For many Jews, the red hand pin is a symbol of the murder of Jews. That's why they killed them? Just because they were Jews? No other reason? Nothing to do with the occupation? Nothing to do with them being literal foreign invading colonial occupiers in Palestinian territory, brutalizing them, raping, murdering them every day? Just Jews? Just vulnerable little Jews targeted for no reason aside from their Jewish identity? This is why you should never take anti-Semitism seriously. This is what it fucking is. This is what it is. What it fucking is. Unbelievable. It reminds me of the Hamas killed a former baby tweet. Oh my, the narcissism. This guy who invaded Gaza and genocided it, this one right here in IDF uniform, this literal combatant, this soldier, this terrorist. What did this guy have to say about him? Amit Cohen, who was killed yesterday in Gaza, was once a face known to every Israeli. In 2007, he was a Huggies baby. The evil Palestinian terrorists literally murdered a former baby in an anti-Semitic incident. He was killed for no reason aside from his Jewish identity. That's what they do when they try to frame like literal illegally occupying soldiers being killed by their victims, civilians, killing them. They frame that as an anti-Jewish hate crime, an anti-Semitic incident. It's so unbelievable. If you see this and you feel victimized by it, it's because you see yourself as the occupier. You know that you have no right to that land. You know that you have no right to be there. You know that what you do to these people is wrong. You see yourself in the same shoes as those terrorist soldiers who were overpowered by their victims. You see yourself as the same as them. That's the only possible reason you could ever be offended by this. And you want to make you being reminded of that impermissible. Michael Kaplan wrote that article. What a fucking loser. I'm sick of the narcissists. These people have never experienced an ounce of oppression or disadvantage because of any identity they have in their life. And here they are telling you that they feel victimized because a red handpin reminds like Zionists of that time that 2 Zionist soldiers were killed by the people they occupy and brutalize. Cry me a fucking river. Cry me an absolute river. That is the anti-Semitism crisis in a nutshell. What a joke.